Well, it turns out Chivalry is not dead after all. Hello everyone, Redborn here. Today we're playing Chivalry Medieval Warfare in 2021. And in this video we're going to talk about how the game holds up 9 years later. This game did come out way back in 2012, so it has been a while. We're going to talk about whether or not there's still people playing this game and how the overall gameplay still holds up, and if it's just overall still worth your time playing this game in 2021. So I actually have a weird experience with this game. I bought the game back in 2017 on the Xbox One after I saw it on the front page of the Xbox store, and I saw that the game was called Medieval Warfare and it was published by Activision. I'm like, is this a Call of Duty game with swords? Because I saw the name Medieval Warfare, I saw the name Activision on it, and it immediately reminded me of Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Advanced Warfare. I'm like, oh shit, they're making a Medieval Warfare now? You know, even though it said Chivalry, not Call of Duty, I'm like, maybe this is a Call of Duty game with swords. And of course, that's not what it turned out to be, but it's still, I was still really happy with this game back in the day. About 4 or 5 years ago, I was playing this game a lot. I put a lot of hours into this game on the Xbox One, but eventually the player base started to die off on the console version for some reason. I couldn't find any match, so I eventually uninstalled the game and stopped playing because it seemed like the game was completely dead on the Xbox One. But fast forward a few years later, the 2020 Steam holiday sale, I see Chivalry Medieval Warfare on sale for $5 on Steam, and I'm like, I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna see if there are people that are still online. If no one is playing, then I could just get a refund on Steam, because you know how good Steam is with refunds, so I wasn't really worried. But it turned out that on the PC version, there are so many players compared to the console. This game is still alive and kicking on PC, which is really cool. So you have modded servers, you have servers for new players, so level 0 to 15, and I guess you could say I was kind of smurfing in this gameplay because I am like a level 2 or level 3, even though I have a lot of experience playing it on the console years ago. But hey, I guess that's smurfing, I guess that's cheating, but I mean, I am technically level 3 on PC, so it's okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna put that out there, that the reason why I'm doing so well isn't necessarily because I'm a god at Chivalry. It's because I do have all that experience on console. I was able to bring that over to PC, and I was able to kick ass because I was playing on a low-level server. But even the higher-level servers, there's still some servers going on. There's still some modded servers that people play on. Or even vanilla servers. I saw like a big, large-scale, I think it was like 32 players on a Team Objective server. So you still have a lot of people that are playing this game in 2021, at least on PC. I don't think the same can be said on Xbox One or PlayStation 4. So if you are a console-only player, your experience may be a little bit different. But I honestly think that these types of games, these types of medieval combat games that we've been seeing, like Chivalry, Mordau, which we'll talk about later on, I feel like those games are just better with keyboard and mouse and with PC, that you're better off just sticking with the PC version anyway. I mean, the games are fine on console. I had a lot of fun playing Chivalry on Xbox One, but when I got this game on PC, it was like a completely different experience, and it was a lot of fun switching over to PC with the keyboard and mouse controls. I felt like it was a lot more smooth. So I played Mordau. I bought the game about a year ago. It's been out for a while, but I just started getting into it about a year ago. And the thing about Mordau, for some reason, I'm really not a fan of the PvP aspect of that game. The only reason why I play Mordau is for Horde mode. I love the Horde mode, I love the co-op in that game. But for some reason, PvP just isn't my thing. I don't know, maybe the combat is a little bit different, and there's something different about Mordau that makes me not like the PvP in that game, but I love the PvP in Chivalry, so I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that. I do believe that Mordau runs on a more updated version of the Unreal Engine. I believe that Mordau runs on Unreal 4, while Chivalry runs on Unreal Engine 3, but you really don't notice a difference between the two. Like, you really don't notice, like, oh, Mordau is just so much smoother, it's so much better than Chivalry. I think Chivalry aged quite well. I think the physics are still really fun, chopping people's heads off, and the overall combat is still really solid for a game that came out in 2012, I would say. So you don't really have to worry about this game feeling old or being old. I think it's still a lot of fun, and even if you never played this game before, I think you would actually enjoy it quite a bit. But yeah, of course, people are going to keep making the Mordhau comparisons. I don't know if I'm going to say that this game is better than Mordhau. I do enjoy the PvP a lot better than Mordhau, but I think they're about the same. So, if you love Mordhau and you're looking to change things up a little bit, I would say pick up Chivalry, because it is very similar. It does have a very similar feel to it, and you could obviously tell that the developers of Mordhau were heavily inspired by Chivalry when they designed their game. And I'm obviously curious to see how Chivalry 2 compares to Mordhau and Chivalry 1. I never got to play the alpha or anything of Chivalry 2, so I'm not sure exactly how it is. And obviously the alpha is not going to be indicative of what the final game is actually like. So it remains to be seen how good Chivalry 2 is. They definitely have a lot to live up to, though, because the first Chivalry game is fantastic. I love the gameplay variety that Chivalry has. With you could be an archer, you can be just like a knight with a sword and a shield, you could be a vanguard, which is like a giant two-handed axe, or you could be, I forget what the other one was, where it's like a two-handed sword. But you have so much variety in the type of way that you can play, in the play style that you can have, that it really does add a lot of replayability to the game, because you don't have to just play one specific way. It's not just like, swords and shields clashing with each other. It's actually, you have so many different weapons and so many different strategies in playing this game. And also you have a wide variety of game modes. You have team objective, which is essentially, you have different objectives in the game that you have to achieve, whether you're playing attack or defense, and there are different things that you have to accomplish. For example, kill all the villagers, pillage the village, and burn down a whole bunch of shit. Like, there's just different objectives that you have that you as the attacker have to do, and as the defender you have to stop the enemy from doing. And I think it really is, it plays really well. I love team objective. The gameplay you're seeing right now, of course, is last team standing, which is kind of like a search and destroy in Call of Duty without the bomb. That's kind of how I see it, where it's just an elimination. It's like team deathmatch, but you don't respawn. And that's also a lot of fun. And of course, there's also straight TDM, where the first team to get 60 kills is the winner. There's so many different game modes, there's so many different play styles that you will not be bored of this game really quickly. You will have a lot of longevity with this game, even if you never played it before. Even if you're kind of new to the game, it still holds up really well. It's still a lot of fun to play, and the maps just feel so good. It really feels like you're in a medieval battle. It's just so fantastic. I love the overall art style. I love the direction that they took with this game. I really can't say anything negative about Chivalry Medieval Warfare at all. Even 9 years later, there's nothing that, like, you could tell, this game hasn't aged very well. I mean, I guess you could say, like, graphically speaking, Mordhau is, of course, a much better looking game, but that doesn't really matter very much. I mean, the overall gameplay mechanics still, they don't really feel that old at all, even though it's been about 9 years since the game was released. Chivalry Medieval Warfare is still one of the greatest online multiplayer experiences I've ever had, and I'm saying that, like, with all sincerity. It's fucking awesome, because at that point, I never played a game like Chivalry before in my life. I don't really think, like, a game like Chivalry even existed on the market prior to its release, like a large-scale medieval combat game. I mean, I'm sure you've had them in the past, but none of them have really been quite like Chivalry. I think Chivalry was a game that started it all, that made the entire genre mainstream in video games. Without Chivalry, there would be no Mordhau. Without Chivalry, there would be no For Honor. I really think that this game had a huge impact on the video game industry, even though it was made by a very small indie studio. They still did a lot with what they had. And they actually did a better job than most AAA studios. It's amazing. Torn Banner, they're such a tiny studio with such a limited budget, they were still able to pull off an experience that was better than most AAA games at the time, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, if you haven't played this game before, definitely check it out. Or if you have, you had played the game back in the day, you're curious to see what it's like in 2021, it's still really solid. I can't really say anything bad about it. I mean, there's so much longevity to the game because of how they directly support mods and modded servers, and you have the Steam Workshop. It's integrated so well together that there's just so much fucking content that you will never get bored of this game. And if you're looking for something different than Mordhau, you're looking for a similar but unique experience. And if you're just waiting patiently for Chivalry 2, Chivalry Medieval Warfare is still a really good time, and there's still a lot of people playing this game. Now, you know, when you're talking about, like, late night, weeknights and stuff like that, you really won't find a lot of people. It's really on the weekends that people play mostly, or at, you know, peak hours, like 5, 6 o'clock Eastern time. So, you know, you're not going to be able to find a match 24/7 like you would probably in Mordhau, but there's still enough players that it's definitely worth the money buying this game in 2021. Anyway, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.